Merry Christmas, good evening, and welcome to the Boxing Day edition of Ghana Tonight. I'm Kemini Amano. Our top stories. Boxing Day shooting near a mosque in the Volta Regional Capital leads to 7 injuries and 15 arrests tonight. What really happened? Also coming up, Nigerian authorities make clear President Tinubu gave green light for the Christmas Day airstrikes on ISIS-linked terror group in northwest Nigeria. Are there more U.S. missiles in Nigeria's future? We'll find out tonight. And we'll also head to Masquerade City and join the Yonkers fan in Sekandi Takrade. Tonight, we're live on the ground with thousands of revelers. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Accra on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. You may also be watching us on Facebook.com, X.com, 3news.com, and on all our social media handles, including YouTube. If you'd like to be a part of the program, remember to use the hashtag Ghana Tonight if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts on any of our big stories tonight. I am Kemini Amano. Let's now bring you Ghana Brief.
The Small Arms Commission on Friday, December 26, advanced its gun amnesty campaign to the Kanda National Mosque, where the Chief Imam Sheikh Osman Nuhu Shaributu led Juma prayers. The gun amnesty declared on December 15 is to allow individuals and groups in possession of unregistered firearms to register or voluntarily surrender them to the police within the amnesty period. Executive Secretary, Small Arms Commission, Dr. Adam Bona said the ongoing gun amnesty is expected to reverse this trend and improve public safety.
The caveat is that no one is going to arrest you. You are not going to be prosecuted. You are not, no interrogation. So we are expecting people to surrender their weapons, even if it is a gun you stole from the police armory. Surrender it. So we are here to let Ghanaians know that we cherish our brothers and sisters who are Muslims in Ghana. We are moving these campaigns to the churches and to the traditional authorities, to the chieftaincy institution. We are going all over the country. So we are here on a single purpose to let people point the guns down and then Ghana up.
At least 15 people have been arrested by the police following a sporadic shooting incident at the Ho Central Mosque Friday morning. Some masked armed men reportedly stormed the mosque and attempted to drive away some people who had gathered around the mosque ahead of Juma prayers. At least 7 people are believed to have sustained gunshot injuries. The incident was reported to have escalated amid sporadic shootings. Heavy joint security personnel were later deployed to the mosque and surrounding the Zongo community to restore calm. Police in the Greater Accra region have conducted another swoop and arrested 101 suspects over drug-related offences. The exercise took place on December 26, 2025. According to the Ghana Police Service, the exercise took place at Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Nungwa, Adabraka, Achimota, East Legon and the railways areas. as part of a special Christmas operation. In a related development, the Savannah Regional Police Command has also arrested 27 persons for drug-related offences. The suspects, including women, were found to have in their possession various kinds of drugs and leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, is expected to be taken over by a private sector operator, according to the International Monetary Fund. In its latest staff report on Ghana, the IMF says government plans to, by the end of 2025, hire a transaction advisor to oversee the selection of private sector concessionaires for electricity distribution. The fund notes that Ghana's energy sector is showing signs of stabilization, pointing to improved payments by ECG to independent power producers under the cash waterfall mechanism. On Sunday, December 28, we paint Labadi Beach white with the biggest party to climax this year. The 3FM all-white party promises an unforgettable night featuring a star-studded lineup and electrifying music performances from the hottest DJs in Ghana. Organizers say there is a treat for you.
Collaborating with Labadi Beach Hotel, which are the top-notch in terms of hospitality. So we're really excited to collaborate with them this year for the beach edition of it. So it's happening at Labadi Beach Hotel, the private beach area of Labadi Beach Hotel. And we have 3 of the finest artists that have thrilled us in the year 2025. The party is always multi-layered because we have our live band element, where we have some of the finest live bands giving us renditions of all the great songs. We have the DJs that create an atmosphere of a club or a party throughout the event, and as well give us the ultimate after party at the end of the event.
Let's get into our first business of the night. We're following that incident in Ho, where there was a shooting at a mosque there. We know that at least 7 people were injured in the sporadic shooting on Boxing Day in Ho, the Volta regional capital. Now, the incident at the Central Mosque also led to the arrest of 15 people. Our regional correspondent Faisal Abdul-Idris reports masked armed men stormed the mosque and attempted to drive away some people who had gathered there for Juma prayers. So we are headed back to the community to bring you the very latest now. Faisal is returning on our television. He's coming back to us with a bit more information on the incident that took place there. Faisal, good evening to you. Let's get into what's happening now. What's the situation? What's the mood? Gauge it for us.
Well, so it's been several hours after the sporadic shooting incident at the Ho Central Mosque early this morning. Between 9:30 to 1 p.m., the place was highly tensed. There were security personnel from both the military and police who had stormed the place to restore calm. This evening, I was there again at about 6 p.m. when Maghrib prayers were called. People were entering the mosque to pray, but of course, there were still police officers who have been stationed in and around the Central Mosque to ensure that what we saw in the morning does not repeat itself. What we saw in the morning, it's not the first time anyway, but it's actually marked a heightened situation because over the years, even though there has been some form of violence and violent confrontations around and in the mosques there, what we saw today involved the shooting of guns. And so that's why I say it marked a heightened situation than we have seen before in the past.
I see. So now we can say the situation is calm on the ground?
Yes, the situation is calm on the ground. On the surface of things, there is peace on the surface of things. but we do not know how things would pan out going forward, because if you follow carefully what has been happening in the Zongo, you would agree with me that today's incident is just one of the many things that we may probably be seeing as far as the impasse in the Zongo is concerned.
I see, Faisal, have yourself a good Boxing Day night. Thank you so much for the good work all through the year and tonight. Faisal Abdul-Idrisu is our regional correspondent. He joined us from the Volta Regional Capital. We'll stay on this subject because I'm now joined by Chief Inspector Francis Gomado, who speaks for the Volta Regional Police Command. Chief, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. As far as police investigation is concerned, what happened?
This morning around 9:30 a.m. was that our Muslim brothers and sisters converged at the central mosque in Ho to have their Friday Juma. Whilst they were there, there was this Navara pickup that pulled up with some people on board the vehicle. Since it's a worship period, nobody thought of any ill intent or any mishap towards each other, only for them to be attacked by the said people who were in the pickup. Unfortunately, looking at the nature of the crowd, 9 of the worshippers were injured and were quickly rushed to the Ho Teaching Hospital or the Volta Regional Teaching Hospital. They are admitted and they are undergoing treatment. Police were called and they swiftly responded. Thank God, our Deputy Regional Police Commander in the person of Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Samuel Okuno, led a team of police officers to the place. And they were able to engage the people in a very fruitful conversation. And they were able to de-escalate the tension that was mounting as a result of the attack. Because we have ongoing investigations, there are a lot of things I will not be able to disclose for now. But we've been able to arrest 10 of the suspects who are currently in police custody, assisting police in the investigations. We are still on a manhunt for some of the suspects that we believe were part of this wicked attack. It's a long-standing issue that they've been battling with for some time now. The police are still engaging the factions in this direction, and we pray that by the end of the day, we'll have a very good resolution of the issue. Our appeal to the families whose relatives are victims of this attack to remain calm and cooperate with the police so that we can get to the bottom of the issue. And believe you me, those who will be found culpable will face full rigors of the law.
I see, Chief. What are these long-standing issues you refer to?
It's an issue of who should be the leader of the Muslim community. And per our intel, there's a Miniru faction and Alaji Anas faction. But then, at this moment, we can't tell exactly who is right or who is wrong. All we know is that a crime has been committed. We need to get to the bottom of it and make sure that we find the perpetrators to face the full rigors of the law.
Chief, who does police say attacked the mosque?
Well, for now, I can't say whether it is Minidu faction or the Anas faction. The fact is that there was an attack on the mosque where some innocent persons were injured. Until we finish our investigations before we will get to know who actually orchestrated that attack or agenda.
I see, Chief, tonight you're giving us some new numbers in that 2 more people are believed to have been injured as a result of the attack hours ago. So now the number of injured people has moved from 7 to 9. You're also telling us that contrary to our report that 15 people were arrested, only 10, well, again, I'll rephrase. Contrary to 15 people being arrested, 10 is the actual number police has on record. Why is the number different now?
What is confirmed on record is what I am telling you. The fact is that, because I earlier on said that there's ongoing investigations, any arrest that is made moving forward will inform the public accordingly.
I see what you mean. So it is not true that 15 people were initially arrested?
Can speculate, people can give their figures, but from the official source, as a spokesperson for the Regional Police Command, I am telling you 10 people have been arrested. If tomorrow the number has increased, I'll use this same medium to update the public on that.
In situations like this, as the past has taught us, there's always the room for reprisal attack, the tendency for another group going against the group that they believed attacked them. How's the command keeping law and order since the incident?
Yeah, even before the incident, you know, we are in the Father Christmas season. So we have deployed a lot of police officers across the region who are maintaining law and order. You believe or you agree with me that this season, people left their homes and they converged at a place for convention and other social gatherings. So we took it upon ourselves to protect their home while they are away, as well as where they will converge to have their worship or whatever program they have.
Very well, Chief. That's all we have time for at this moment. But thank you so much for your time here on Ghana Tonight. Chief Inspector Francis Gomado is Director of PR at the Volta Regional Police Command. Now, we'll stay on this subject because tonight we're also learning the Executive Secretary of the Small Arms Commission, Dr. Adam Bona, has been speaking about this incident during a visit to the Chief Imam. I want us to take a listen to him hours ago, then we'll bring him into the conversation. Because again, you recall that the Small Arms Commission has embarked on amnesty, where they're taking guns from the communities around us, from the society, from members of the public, in exchange for amnesty, right? And so what you're doing is that no matter how long you've had your illegal weapons, ammunition, bring them. We will forgive you, no penalty, no consequences, because we want to keep guns out of the hands of people who shouldn't have them. But when he visited the Chief Imam today, he spoke a little bit about the situation in Ho, and I want us to take a listen to him. We'll bring him into the conversation live. Don't go away. Let's look at that.
Is that no one is going to arrest you. You are not going to be prosecuted. You are not, no interrogation. So we are expecting people to surrender their weapons. Even if it is a gun you stole from the police armory, surrender it. No prosecution, no arrest. So we are here to let Ghanaians know that we cherish our brothers and sisters who are Muslims in Ghana. We are moving these campaigns to the churches and to the traditional authorities, to the chieftaincy institution. We are going all over the country. So we are here on a single purpose to let people point the guns down and then Ghana up.
Dr. Adam Bona attributed recent gun violence, including the whole incident, to the proliferation of illicit arms.
I saw it on your TV channels today. There's an incident in the Volta region where some people shot in a mosque. And you can see, coincidentally, we are here. It tells you that no one is free. If these people didn't have weapons, they won't get into a mosque and start shooting. I mean, anyone who is a Muslim knows that Islam preaches peace and not violence. But others have turned it around and, want to foment trouble. So for me, I would say that we need your support as a media to help us fight this canker called illicit guns in Ghana.
We now have Dr. Adam Bona, who's the Acting Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Doc, it's great to connect with you again. It's been a while since we had a conversation on television. But I want to go back into hours ago during your visit to the office of the Chief Imam and the comments you made about the incident in Ho. Let's talk about why you could draw that conclusion.
Yes, good evening and Merry Christmas to yourself and Happy New Year in advance. We visited the Chief Imam at his residence sometime this week. And then this Friday, we decided to worship and interact with worshippers at the National Mosque. And in fact, when we visited the Chief Imam in the first instance, he accepted to be an ambassador of the gun amnesty as declared by the Honorable Interior Minister Honorable Mutaka Mubarak. And so that paved the way for us to be at the Central Mosque, to let those who have illicit weapons to surrender these weapons. And we all know that an amnesty has been declared. And an amnesty is a legal instrument that says that you are immune from prosecution if you surrender your weapon. You are immune from interrogation. You are immune from arrest if you surrender your weapon within the stated period. And we are aware it started on the 1st of December and is ending on the 15th of January 2026. And so far, so good. We have had, hundreds of weapons surrounded at various police stations. We have districts. We have over 1,300 district police stations all over the country that are receiving these weapons. We have had calls from people who feel they are not very, comfortable bringing the weapons. We have a system in place where we would come to you, not in a marked vehicle, to take the weapon from you and issue you a receipt. And I must say that somewhere last week, a call came from the whole area, the Volta region area, someone who had an AK-47 and was afraid to surrender the weapon. A team went there and brought the AK-47 and it's in safe custody as we speak. We have picked sidearms, shotguns, all manner of weapons from people's homes. Others are delivering them at various police stations, because if you don't and the amnesty ends, then arrest and prosecution would begin, as the amnesty declaration made everyone aware of.
Very well. Doc, I'll stay on the subject of the whole incident just a little bit longer. With the latest development around the whole Central Mosque, do we see it trigger any new efforts to mop up what could be illicit arms in the hands of people in Ho and its environs?
Well, it is work in progress. It's a shame that, hours before we went to worship with our brothers and sisters at the National Mosque in the Kanda area, we had others who had stormed the whole mosque and had attacked worshippers. And the type of worshippers we have in almost all religious organizations or religious setups. You have people who are frail, old ladies, old men, people who don't have the capacity to walk, who don't have the capacity to see. And so it is a shame. Our hearts out to those who suffered this barbaric attack in the Volta region. But measures have been put in place to mop up these weapons. We are moving from one region to another. We were in the Upper West region last week. We are going to be going all over the country from one region to the other. We've had conversations with the chief imam himself, with some of our traditional leaders and opinion leaders. And so we will be in Ho in the shortest possible time to urge the people in the Volta region, including the Muslim community, to surrender their illicit weapons. These weapons shouldn't be amongst us. If weapons are not amongst us, I believe that we are going to find a more sensible way of dialoguing and mediating without weapons. But once there are weapons, a little trigger and someone pulls a weapon and begins to shoot at people like we saw this barbaric attack in the Volta region. It is the reason why this amnesty is so important. And we need all of you because it could have been anyone in that central mosque in the Volta region who could have been attacked. And so we need all illicit weapons surrounded with immediate effect. It's very important. This gives us more hope that what we are doing, we are on the right path, and we will need the support of Ghanaians, including you, the media, to urge Ghanaians to surrender their illicit weapons before the amnesty ends.
Very well, Doc. Now we hear that the Greater Accra region topped the list for the highest number of returned or surrendered weapons. Tell us a bit more about that and perhaps why that is so.
Well, it is so because obviously Greater Accra, everything you would see, we have a lot of action taking place in Greater Accra. There are a lot of people in Greater Accra, and maybe a lot more sensitization has taken place in the Greater Accra region. And therefore, maybe the sensitization is working. And let me be quick to also say that since the amnesty was declared up to now, in fact, kudos to the Ghana Police Service, headed by Yohono and his team, and the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander, the Upper West Regional Police Commander, and all the police regional commanders all over the country, the CID boss. They are all doing a fantastic job. My own colleagues at the, the National Commission on Small Arms, and in fact, Interior, we are collaborating to make sure crime rates drop. Since the declaration, if you check through your own media, unscientific way of checking crime statistics, violent crimes by the use of weapons have dropped significantly going into this festive season. It means that a lot of work is taking place as we speak. And then, like I mentioned, Greater Accra is a hotbed when it comes to some of these activities. Ashanti region is also recording a lot of surrounded weapons. The Upper West region, when we visited there, we also picked up, when we did the monitoring, several weapons have been surrounded in the Upper West region, and they are being surrounded all over the country. But for now, we wouldn't be giving you the numbers that are coming in. But the numbers that are coming in, surprisingly.
But Doc, which is what surprises me, right? Because I'd expect that the places where we have seen armed chaos or some level of armed conflict would have been places that would top the list for armed surrender or surrenders. But here we are, it's the Greater Accra region. Does that not worry the Commission?
Well, it doesn't worry the Commission. Remember recently during the Homo War, didn't you see something that looked like a war movie when people, some crazy people went into town shooting people in daylight? And so it tells you that no one is immune from gunshots. In the Babu Wulomos, the high priest of the Ganadangwe, area, the Babu Wulomo, he was there outdooring one of her queen mothers. And that queen mother was killed in front of everybody through the use of illicit firearms. And so the Greater Accra region is not so different from other regions. The good thing is that Greater Accra is become an example of a region that is seeing the need to surrender weapons.
Very well.
Other regions are following suit. The one municipality, you are talking about Ashanti region. The Volta region is we are getting, the numbers in the Volta region is not bad. Just that a lot of sensitization must go down. And myself and the team that is leading this campaign, we are going to go to every corner of this country to make sure we retrieve as many weapons as possible should be surrounded. And so I think that no conflict-prone area is going to be spared. In fact, including Boku itself. We
Very
are
well,
going
Doc.
to make sure every community is visited.
Doc, just a couple more things and then we'll wind down on this conversation. What are the checks and balances to ensure that these weapons, these ammunitions that are returned do not end up back in public hands or wrong hands again?
So we put in a very transparent mechanism of surrounded weapons and those who are bringing them for re-registration and all that, and those who want to regularize them. When you come in, remember what we did first of all before the amnesty was declared was to do the TOT, the trainer of the trainers. Every firearm, everyone who was part of firearm, dealing with firearms in all the police districts were brought to Accra. They were trained as trainers and they went back to the various districts and trained officers. When you come to surrender your weapon, you are given a receipt. They filled a document is filled, a sticker is placed on the, on the weapon, and a receipt is given you. That is to make sure that we are accountable. After these weapons are surrounded, the leadership of this country, i.e. the Interior Minister, Cabinet, will take a decision. But usually, what happens is that when the weapons are surrounded and these weapons are weapons that are not supposed to probably go back to those who brought them, some of them bring them for regularization. If we take you through the process and you are qualified to be issued a license to bear a firearm, the weapon will be given to you. Will you go through the process? All the checks will be done on you. But if it happens that someone surrounded and the weapon has to be destroyed, we have a weapon destruction machine. The weapon will be destroyed in the public gallery. So all of you will be invited. But I think that maybe on another program, I will show you images of how these weapons are being surrounded, some of them, and the process we take through. And so I think in another, episode, we would have to arrange that. I will take yourself through and Ghanaians through the transparent way this thing is done. So there should not be any doubt at all that these weapons would not leak back into society. No, we are going to make sure that they don't leak back.
Indeed, Doc, I want us to wind down with this question on Facebook by Rita Va, who is asking, the fear of most people now is that others are willing to surrender their weapons while others are seriously acquiring more. So those surrendering are afraid of those who are not doing the surrender but acquiring more. And this is dangerous to our lives. How do you respond to this, Doc?
Let me tell you something. A lot went into the decision to declare an amnesty. The government of Ghana didn't want to start a swoop and start arresting people en masse and locking them at our various prisons, especially when it is so difficult to feed prisoners as we speak. And so the decision to not arrest people immediately, that allow people to do this, is a very important one. It doesn't mean we don't know those who have the weapons. We know those who have the weapons, and I can tell you that those who refuse to surrender their illicit weapons, we will come after them after the amnesty ends. Secondly, we are putting in place a mechanism where if you refuse to surrender, you are going to have your own brother or sister who would come in and tell us that maybe Touchwood, Kameni has a weapon, or somebody close to Kameni has a weapon. That person will be paid handsomely for giving us the information that you have a weapon. So whether you like it or not, we will come after you if you do not surrender your illicit weapon. So there is no turning back on this. We will come after everyone who decides. So I'm answering that person, that we know them and we will come after them if they refuse to surrender within the stated period.
But are there any efforts to make new acquisitions difficult?
Well, you see, if you make it difficult, then you are paving the way for people not to go through the process. We want to make it easy for people to own firearms, but these firearms must be licensed. Come and you drive. You have a driver's license. You have a car that is registered to you. There is no way you will give a car registered to you, a DVLA, to someone to go and steal. It is the same way a weapon registered to you in your name. You will give that weapon to someone to go and commit robbery, because the ballistic experts amongst us would know that it is your weapon that was used. But when the weapon is not in our database, it becomes difficult. And so we are rather concerned about regularization because it is not the issue. Because when you make it difficult, listen, we are human beings. People will find a way. So rather, we want to make it as quickly as possible, but make sure that if, of course, you ex-convict cannot own a weapon, if you are not over 18, you can't own a weapon, you must go through a process, all the checks and balances. If you are, the law says we should give it to you, why not? So we are not, I don't think the state is interested in making it difficult, but rather to make sure that even if there are 1 billion weapons in Ghana, we know who has a weapon and who doesn't have. But at the moment, when you don't know, people are shooting indiscriminately. Like this, what happened in Ho? This what happened in Ho shouldn't have been happening. And if some people have been arrested, I'm sure you will get to know that most of these weapons, the weapons that were used are not licensed to be used that way.
Very well, Doc. We'll leave the rest for a different platform. But thank you so much for your time tonight. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much, Kemeni.
Dr. Adam Bona is Acting Executive Secretary of the Small Arms Commission. We'll turn attention to another situation to do with security, but outside our borders, this time in Nigeria, which has made news since Christmas Day. More bombs could be in the future for Nigeria, and the new U.S. resolve to end what President Trump has said to be Christian annihilation in parts of the West African country. Listen, I've got this covered. Don't really worry about that word, which I wrote, by the way. Let's get into the mess of this. Now, Nigerian authorities say the Christmas Day bombings in northwest Nigeria was a joint operation between the West African country and the U.S. According to U.S. President Donald Trump, precision airstrikes were launched on an ISIS-linked terror group. Now, both Nigerian and U.S. authorities have yet to give any further details about the operation, except U.S. military is quoted as saying multiple fatalities were recorded in Sokoto State on the border with Niger, where members of the terror group were believed to be present. Now, Nigeria, on the other hand, is fending off local pressure over why it didn't take the lead in an operation on its soil. But Foreign Minister Yusuf Maitama Tugar has been speaking extensively on this matter. In fact, his ministry in a statement said that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria confirms that Nigerian authorities remain engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States of America, in addressing the persistent threat of terrorism and violent extremism. Now, this has led to precision hits. Now, you notice that they're using the same language as U.S. President Donald Trump. This has led to precision hits on terrorist targets in Nigeria by airstrikes in the northwest. Now, along the line, he also says and reiterates the point that terrorist violence in any form, whether directed at Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remains an affront to Nigerians' values and to international peace and security. And now, this statement, this part of that statement is really crucial, because remember that these airstrikes are coming on the back of what appears to be a U.S. campaign against what they say is the massacre of Christians in northern Nigeria. U.S. Donald Trump had positioned himself to be the savior of the Christians in that part of the country, which is why the airstrikes were launched on Christmas Day. So the Christmas Day gifts to the people, to the terrorists in that part of the country was the bombings that took place on that day. Now, the Nigerian authorities, on the other hand, say terror is bad for everybody. This is not a religious, this is not in response to a religious incident. But whether you're Christian, you're Muslim, or you're secular, whatever religion you believe in, a terror attack against you is bad for you and is bad for everybody. Now, that's the difference in the language of communication between Nigerian authorities and U.S. authorities. How that is important, we'll find out now, because Richard Kumado is a security analyst and a fraud consultant, is joining us for a bit more on this. Now, Richard, before I hear your thoughts on some of the things that I have said so far, we also know that back in Nigeria, influential Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi has been speaking to this matter. And in fact, if you allow me, I'd read what Sheikh Gumi has said so far. And Sheikh Gumi has said to the Nigerian authorities that it's important that they refrain, right? Nigeria should halt all military cooperation with the USA immediately because of its imperial tendencies worldwide and seek the help of those neutral countries mentioned. Nigerians are too educated to be played with. This is going to be a 2027 campaign discourse. That's from Sheikh Gumi. Essentially, he's asking the Nigerian authorities to halt cooperation that allows the U.S. to launch missiles or airstrikes in Nigeria for whatever reason. And for me, Richard, my viewpoint on this, perhaps not so important, is the fact that we may have successfully put ourselves on the path of what could be a war amongst religions, haven't we?
Definitely, security communication is a skillful one, and those who operate within the security intelligence environment or at the highest levels of security governance will always craft their communication so well that it doesn't lead to ambiguity, because whatever you say carries weight. And if you don't say it properly, it has different variations and different meanings. So to the extent that you are having the Nigerian government saying a different in what the Americans are saying, that is why you are having the likes of sheikhs and many other persons we've spoken to in Nigeria getting confused about what has happened and what the ramifications are. Number two, it is so important that African countries, irrespective of whoever they are able to build security operations capacity within their countries, that they are able to provide security assurances to their people. Number three, in the complex world we live in, there's nothing wrong seeking technical assistance and abilities from foreigners or international communities in line with your national foreign policy, particularly when you play within the geopolitical arena, where things can be a bit more complex. Having said that, once you turn these whole strikes into a religious one, then you might be changing the dynamics, then you might be changing the narrative, and that will not order well for Nigeria. But Kemini, if you have been to Nigeria, like some of us have done, are people being killed? Yes. Within the geographical area they described? Yes. Has this thing been going on for a very long time? Yes. And the figures are being pointed at particular groups of people. And the state of Nigeria did little about it. They were undermined. They were lackadaisical. Once you put up a posture that you do not care about the people being killed, and hands are being pointed at a specific group of people, then you might be asking the Americans to come in. So if you don't want them to come in, whether you have a relationship with them or not, you have to do things properly as a state, because there's sovereignty at stake here, and there's security breaches at stake, and there's public safety guarantees at stake. So that is where we are.
I see, Richard, but there are those who, and again, we know that in the northern part of the country, that is mostly Islamic areas of Nigeria. And the position has been that these terror attacks have known no religion. Specifically, it hasn't been a targeted attack at Christians. It hasn't been a targeted attack at Muslims. It's been a targeted attack at anybody who is in the way of the weapon. But what I do want us to look at now is, again, looking at the difference in language between the U.S. authorities and the Nigerian authorities. The responsibility now is at the doorstep of the Nigerian authorities to ensure that this situation does not de-escalate and then become a religious war among Christians who are mostly in the south and Muslims who are mostly in the north of Nigeria. A statement has been released, but you and I know that a statement is not enough for a situation like this. What else could Nigerian authorities be doing going forward?
No, I think they have to show leadership. The president will have to speak to the issue. African Union will have to speak to the issue. ECOWAS will have to speak to the issue. And this is where I want to hear from my president, President Mahama. We want to hear from Samuel Kudjeto Abroka, the foreign minister. We want to hear from the key personalities within the West Africa zone, that they have to speak to the issue, and there has to be diplomatic channels, and there has to be dialogue. Other than that, once it becomes a religious issue, and the Nigerian government is so weak in dealing with some of these religious attacks that has taken place, we might be running away from it. But some of the attacks that happen, you could see clearly that somebody is creating a narrative that has led us to where we are today. And when you go to Nigeria, just like Ghana, you have Christians and Muslims and traditional leaders all over the country. There might be one particular group of people predominantly at some other places, but to the extent that specific people are being kidnapped and abducted and killed, we have to be careful. Other than that, we are also aware that everywhere Big Brother goes, Uncle Charles goes, he leaves footprints. And those are not the footprints you want to have in Nigeria or you want to have within the West Africa region. The geopolitical aspect of it, Kemini, is not looking good, and the optics are not looking good for the Nigerian government. They will have to wake up to their responsibility, and they will have to deal with this issue precisely as possible.
Just a few more things, and then we'll wrap up on this conversation. We know that the U.S. has also been speaking again since the incident, despite not giving us much as far as details are concerned. It only talks about its initial assessment. We find the same with the Nigerian authorities. It's unclear who was hit on the ground. But I want us to move away from that briefly and talk about the future of what has started or what started on Christmas Day. Because as we have known from the past and happenings even now, there's always a blowback. Those described as terrorists always fight back, and it doesn't look pretty on the ordinary citizens on the ground. We know that on record in so many instances. But I want to show you something that we picked up from the X-handle of the Secretary of War of the U.S., Peter Hegseth, and he's talking about what could be more missiles in the future of Nigeria. Let's look at it. He says the president was clear last month. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. The Department of War is always ready. So ISIS found out tonight on Christmas. And there it is, more to come. Grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. Merry Christmas. How does that come to you? More to come.
Now, I wasn't surprised at all from the narration from the Americans. They were clear in their minds what they wanted to do. They gave the warning. The pre-warning was there, the readiness and the preparedness to strike was there, and the kind of missiles they want to use was also ready. So they were prepared. If you listen to the foreign minister, he said one of the statements he made is that they spoke to the U.S. authorities or the guys who were supposed to strike the location 90 minutes, 9 minutes, 5 minutes before the strike. This is a precision missile they have to use, and there are ramifications and there are consequences for selecting that particular missile.
But they say there's more to come. They say there's more to come.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it happened in the Nigeria soil. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Do Nigerians as a country have the capacity to deal with the terror we are talking about? No. Have they done something about it? No. Have they been successful with it? No. Go back as far back as what led to Jonathan losing the election. It was some of these orchestrations. And many of the killings and the abductions that has happened, people are watching because these days, this democracy is in the open and the governance is an open space and people can read in between the lines. Is the U.S. government lying about the killings? This is another question for another day. Did they strike the right places? They know exactly what they were looking for.
It would seem we would have to wait for the extensive assessment to be able to come to those, those numbers. But as you put it, it's important that we learn exactly who and what was hit, where it hit, precisely, to help the Nigerian authorities take a decision as to whether they will accept the more that is to come. But thank you so much, Richard, for your time tonight. Richard Kumado is a security analyst. We've been looking at the Christmas Day bombings in northwest Nigeria, particularly in Sokoto State on the border with Niger. It's been tough. It's been dense. Let's go lighter now. We join jubilant celebrants in Takoradi for Ankos. Let's get into that now.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo paint?
As an interior decorator, I aim for that beautiful, elegant look. Flamingo paint has great hiding ability to cover and transform old walls easily with just one coat.
Impressive. For me, as a professional painter, I love Flamingo paint because with this small paints are paint huge area, meaning more profit for me. Great value for money.
As an architect, Flamingo paint, with its well-researched and solid composition, guarantees durability for all my buildings.
Flamingo paint, superior hiding, superior coverage, superior durability. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job,
Welcome back. It's Anko season. I'm in a hurry to take you to Sekondi Takoradi, where the streets are... Oh, look at that. Look at the numbers for the Anko's Festival. And this is happening in conjunction with Connect FM in Takoradi. You know that's a sister station here at Media General. We'll now connect with Irama Smith, who's been having all the fun without us. Irama, what's happening?
Directly into the airport.
Irama, we can hear you. Go on.
It's a city of violence. The groups have already passed through, and the Supreme group, which numbers are people, so to 1 hour pass through. People pass through now. Thousands of regulars that masqueraders, car performances here, and business is so booming. Excitement here. It's a huge party. But the flip side to it is not easy to have the city in traffic gridlock. In such a situation, it's so the previous group left and they've cleared away. The next coming. Continue like that until the last. We are looking at 45 groups. So you can imagine what is here, but it's to be here and it's total madness.
Very well, Irama, thank you so much for the reporting. But look at all that fun we are missing here in Accra. Next year, I won't be in the studio with you. I'll definitely be on the ground with the Anko's magic, the masquerade magic that is lighting up Takoradi Street. Listen, let's listen to some sound from there. I want to hear music from there.
Master, when your masters are back, I say, you're crowded.
What a party. Excuse me. What a party you're missing. Well, from the situation at the whole Central Mosque to the missile attacks or missile strikes in northwestern Nigeria over the supposed annihilation of Christians in that part of the country, to Anko's Festival. If you haven't checked your calendar already, this is our very last episode for 2025. Ghana Tonight is grateful for your company all through the year. We will see you with an even better edition. Well, I will, because Alfred will be back on Monday. But I'll see you with an even better Friday edition in the new year. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout the 365 days of 2025. But what's happening tomorrow? Because it's still 2025. Alfred Okanse will be here with his panelists to discuss some of the week's biggest stories, unpacking the Constitutional Review Committee's report. AG gives more oral updates. Ken Oferiate's lawyers are also speaking. BOD Gold Board challenge IMF on $214 million loss. And look at the list of guests. Justice Abdullahi, Martin Kpebu. I also see Professor Bafo there. economists. Yeah, I also see I see Andy Apiakubi there, Musa Dankwa, and then the economists who I can see. Professor Sumi and Professor Bokpin as well, and Theo Champong, to give you a full picture of what's happening. Forgive me, my sight fails me when I need to read from afar. But on Sunday, you may have seen aspects of my interview with the chairman of the Constitution Review Committee. What you do not know is that is just one part of the conversation we had, where we discussed mainly how they are curing the excessive power of the executive as far as the government is concerned as they reviewed the Constitution. Their proposals were widely discussed in that interview. It's on YouTube right now. You can go and watch it. However, on Sunday, there's a second part of that interview that also deals with curing some of the excesses of our legislature. It also deals with issues around dual citizenship of MPs and the likes, and how people like you and I can be more representative in the governance process. That will come your way on Sunday at 1 p.m. here on News on TV3. So join me at 1 p.m. For another episode of Hot Issues, where I sit down with the chairman of the Constitution Review Committee, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, where we discuss that part of the report that was delivered to the president in the course of the week. Don't miss it. It's a really important conversation we had. So much to learn, and you know, in fact, I encourage our MPs to tune in because it gives them a sense of what was behind the thinking of the proposal. So join me then at 1 p.m. for Hot Issues. Thank you so much once again. It's been a very fruitful year. We've had a good time here on Ghana Tonight. I'm Kemeni Amano. Bye-bye.
Ghana